probably from like 30th of January next year, you're going to see those kind of brands in the store because greenwashing is going to be forbidden. If you can't prove it, it's going to be forbidden. Before anyone could like press their own like pin or logo, like it's sustainable, but no one needed to prove it. Why do you need to buy something new for the weekend? You have a perfect wardrobe, but if you combine these two clothes together instead of buying something new, we interpret it like being successful is being happy. And I guess this misconception has like made a huge amount of mistakes in the Western like mindsets, because we always struggle to get better.
Welcome back to yet another episode of The Switch. Not just another podcast, but the podcast that wants to educate you, entertain you, and make sure that you get the newest and the most important information so that you can be a part of the switch into a greener and better world. We are talking to people, organizations, and initiatives that really make a difference, and all in order for you to get on with it. That's how it is. To do this, I of course have a great team with me. Emil behind the camera, of course, you already know him. But I also have the one, the only, the Alexander Helling. The Alexander Helling. How are you today?
Thank you, Christina. I'm excellent.
Are you? You're green today.
I am green today. I was hoping you to be green as well, but not today.
No, I wanted to be your opposite so that I can really challenge you today. Yeah. Are you ready for that?
The green button, not the red one.
Yeah, why don't you tell the audience about the green button? What's that about?
That's when we want to give love to something, or want to say that's positive. And the red button, that's the bullshit button.
Okay, so do you wish to push that bullshit button today?
I think that's your job. I'll push the green one. I'll be the positive one.
So you're going to be the good guy and I have to be the bad guy?
Yes.
Is that fair?
That's how it is.
That's how it is?
It's usually the way it is.
Let's not go there, okay? I'm going to make you push both of the buttons.
Okay.
But we couldn't do this alone. It's not possible to do this without an amazing guest. And today we have a person that I've been hunting for a while, actually. She is a media profile in Sweden. She is an influencer with more than 58,000 followers on Instagram. And earlier this year, she politically admitted to be a shopaholic. But now she's actually questioning the mass psychosis of the hyper-consumerism that is out there. And she has been even practicing down at the EU Commission, which I'm super curious to get to know more of. Are you eager to?
I'm super eager. I think the influencers today they have such an impact on what we do and what we think. Just look at Bill Gates, who through his fund Breakthrough Energy Venture is a part owner in Baseload Capital. When they go out with the statement, it's not usually from Breakthrough Energy. That's from Bill Gates, because he's the influencer. He's the one. So how do influencers affect us? How do they affect the policy? So yeah, I'm super excited.
She's been talking, and she will be talking very much about fashion. Let me just give you some interesting facts. 100 billion garments per year. 92 million tons end up in a landfill. Fast fashion went from 2 seasons to 4 seasons to 52 seasons to 365 seasons since we, for example, got brands like Shine that is actually producing 10 new seasons or outfits per day. This is amongst all things that she's been talking about. So I'm super eager to get to know more because she really knows this. So let's introduce her to the set. Anitha Clemence, please join us.
Thank you.
You have been on such an exciting journey.
Yes.
And I'm super eager to have you here. So thank you for coming.
Thank you for letting me be here.
Latest, you actually went down to EU Commission, right?
Not the Commission, but the Parliament.
The Parliament,
yes.
That's right. And you actually did some practicing together with one of our parliamentarians.
Exactly. Alice Bah Kuhnke, she's for the Green Party. but I was not there as a green activist or greenish potentially activist. I was there just because I was curious, because I think, in my perspective, the climate is above everything. It doesn't have a political color or state. I mean, I don't think anyone thought that the Big Bang had a political color, so I guess the climate doesn't have either. So I'm there to be curious about what's happening on the Parliament side, on the Commission side, and also what's going on in Sweden, because European Union is doing all our laws, and on the table at this very moment is the laws for the green textile industry, which has been unregulated for so long.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at any kind of manufacturer, whatever it is, it's basically regulated. But this hasn't been. So, I mean, it's...
Has it never been, or has it been little?
Never. It's been like a open field. So that's why brands like you were mentioning had the possibility to do whatever they did, because these haven't been regulated at all.
When you started, let's go back to where you started as an influencer, and there was a moment about a year ago where you kind of got fed up, if I understood correct, and you felt like, okay, I need to do something else. Can you tell us about that moment, that what caused it?
Yeah, the moment, I guess, this has been going on for a couple of years, at least inside me. I didn't speak about it because when I read the IPC report, it was the first time I really like, shit, this isn't gonna work. We're on the wrong direction. Oh my God, and war and political leaders, banks, central bank systems, etc. How is this gonna be even possible to survive? Because the economy wants something, the politicians want something, and the climate wants something else, and we are not in the same boat. And also our way of interpret happiness, we interpret it like being successful is being happy. And I guess this misconception has like made a huge amount of mistakes in the Western like mindsets, because we always struggle to get better. And on that ladder, consumption is one of the steps you have to take, right?
Meaning to shop more and to get more things.
To show off more in social media, to do whatever. If I'm wearing this or doing this, that means I'm successful, etc., happy. And I think as long as I was willing to support that industry, I was also one of the people who were like signing off that this is okay to do this. This is okay to consume, and this is, then I realized that my children, the day after Christmas, they were already talking about their lists for their birthday, what they were wishing for, the wishing list. And I was like, is consumption the only thing that I'm giving them as individuals?
Yeah.
What is this? I have to stop doing this, because I'm a bad role model, not only for my kids, I'm a bad role model for myself, and also for everyone that follows. So I took kind of a harsh and brave, I guess.
Very brave, I must say.
Yeah, because as you know, as an influencer, doing consumption, or at least advertising consumption, is to say, do this. This is my life. This is one way for me to get my money.
For people who don't know about the influencing, basically, you're using your following and your platforms to show products for other companies.
I'm a slash model slash advertising channel.
Yeah,
I'm a distributor for consummation.
Yeah, for brands and for consummation. Yeah, for sure.
So,
and that's how you make a living.
That's how I make a living, of course. And that's, of course, that would affect my economy if I quit it. So,
So while going through this process and realizing this with your kids and making this brave decision, because what you said is that I will not buy any more clothes, right? So I'm going to stop with this at all, completely.
Well, first I said I'm going to stop completely for 3 months. And I thought that was nothing, but then I get all the media attention in Sweden. So I guess I was doing something weird or right. I couldn't at that time like actually say what was what. But I mean, for some people, I mean, not to consume in 3 months is is a no-brainer because they don't even consume it. I mean, for men, for example, do you wear like, how many suits do you have? 10?
Well, it's another chapter. I used to live in China, so actually when I moved back, I had 42.
Yeah, but you know, if you would be an average male, you would probably have like 10 suits.
Yeah, probably. Maybe more like 5, I would say.
Yeah.
Because you don't wear a suit that much more in Sweden.
No, but I mean, you have 5 pair of jeans. You are so much more sustainable than women are, because our way of proving for ourselves and for others is to consume and show off something new. And
your self-worth is the sweater you're wearing for the day, or the shoes, or the bag.
And that's how women also encourage each other. Wow, look at you. You look amazing. That's how you are gaining like confidence from another woman.
But I think also it's very interesting, because not only did you stop then to shop, you also said that I'm not going to make money for these 3 months. I'm not going to advertise. And I think that's a huge decision as well.
And it was. And honestly, it was kind of hard in the beginning. I mean, I'm usually a person that maybe shops one thing new every week. This is me. And that consumption is not weird, because the average way of consuming stuff is 57 pieces per year. So I was like super average. So 3 months would like decrease my emission with 25%. But the thing is that I then kept on going, because it wasn't any hard. And also I reinvented my own wardrobe.
Did these 12 months soon to be, is that going to change you for the rest of your life, or is it a year that you wanted to try?
It 100% changed me for the rest of my life, because what happened is like, it's like I've been basically alcoholic, but on clothes, shopaholic. And now I'm kind of like reinvented myself. Basically, what is this way? Why are you need to have approval of being a better person by consuming? Why do you need to buy something new for the weekend? You have a perfect wardrobe, but if you combine these two clothes together instead of buying something new. So it really helped me go through a lot of like tough questions to ask myself. Why do I need to like restore or always fill up myself with like new insurance, like always comforting myself with being the most trendy FOMO girl?
Yeah.
But it's pretty interesting, because following you from the day you actually took the decision, inspiring me, by the way, as well, has it made any negative effect on your followers, on your income? Has that been a consequence?
Definitely. I most suddenly gained a lot of new followers, but from the very advanced, like green liberal movement, which is good, but that's a kind of like preaching to the choir in one way. I think since I'm not an activist or outspoken activist or Green Party member or supporter, I think from my point of view, it was like doing this for maybe the blue wing followers. That kind of encouraged a lot of people to actually start to consider. I just want people to think, even if you just do it, you don't need to be as strict as me. But if you do it maybe for 2 months, or you maybe change one piece of one meal every week, doing vegetarian instead of meat, and maybe you take the train one time instead of taking the plane.
It makes a difference.
That makes a difference on a global perspective. Yeah. I think I'm successful in that way. And I think it's worth it from my point of view.
So financially, did it hurt you a lot?
Financially, it hurt me a lot, because I lost a lot. I haven't had one single collab this year without something that was already decided before. And I bought as much as 3 pieces. I have never been invited to any events this year.
And I have to do this. Come on, that's so bad that actually you're making a good choice for many people, and you're punished in a way. For not doing a lot of consumerism, or for making some good and healthy choices. How is that even possible?
I don't know. Ask the market.
Yeah.
That's basically what you have to ask. Ask the market. They don't want this. They don't know how to act if I'm there, because am I gonna bash their brand? I'm not out for bashing anything. No. I'm out there just to see like what's happening in society. but they are feeling, maybe they feel stupid if I'm there and they're doing like shopping hauls and I'm involved in it. How is that going to affect their brand and my brand?
And at the same time, I know you even got a lot of criticism. People were like trying to figure out if this was greenwashing your brand, or if this was a way of trying to show off, or was it a one-off? There were a lot of questions, especially in the beginning. I think you proved them wrong by now, but
I hope so.
How do you feel about that? Because that, I mean, just making a brave decision is one thing, but just keeping at it, having the resilience to continue for the rest of the year, how are you doing by now, actually?
I think I'm doing good also, but I really like longer for like go into like a shop and really like buy something. I've been into shops, but I haven't bought anything. And I think now I will not say that I'm worthy of it, but I really need a new sweater. But I'm keen on like sticking to my idea that I'm not going to consume anything before 15th of January, so I won't. But I mean, now I need a couple of new pieces to fill out my wardrobe, but I'm really like waiting to just get those few, and then I might not refill again for quite some time.
But when you do then go and get those pieces, do you then also think I should get like recycled material or recycled textiles, or do you have that also been important? Could you use that when you're as an influencer also to influence others that when we do have to shop, we can go much greener or go much more sustainable?
Definitely, but also I have to be like, to start with, this isn't, because this is also what's happening in social media. When you're doing something, you always get compliance of what you don't do, right? And also, I have to say, if you buy like a little bit like pricier kind of material, fabric or whatever, you probably are using much more and better like life,
more
sustainable choices in all over the chain, because the chain is like this, from point A to point C. You're buying something, someone is making it, you're buying it here, we're using it like 7 times and then we throw it away. What we have to do after January this year, everything that's going to be in store for the coming 5 years needs to have the full circle. It's not going to be a production line, it's going to be a production circle. So everything have to be rebranded that way. And probably from like 30th of January next year, you're going to see those kind of brands in the store, because greenwashing is going to be forbidden. If you can't prove it, it's going to be forbidden. Before anyone could like press their own like pin or logo, like it's sustainable, but no one needed to prove it. But now you have to.
What is the role of an influencer? I mean, there's a saying, the first one through the wall always gets bloody. You've been taking a smash both in finance and also followers and stuff like that, but other influencers now that can actually follow you and do things. Do you believe that is it up to the influencer to start looking into this? Is this a responsibility each and every influencer should have?
I think so.
Sustainability.
I think so. At least influencers should know that what I am advertising, that I can be behind the advertisement. For example, when you're working with Konsumentombudsmannen, who's like making decision maker in Sweden, or commercial laws and for consummation, you as an influencer have the responsibility, because you are also the publisher in this case. And if you are publishing something, you would never publish like child pornography or weapon or narcotics. But if you would be responsible for doing that. But if you are advertising trafficking or like bad humanitarian way of living, because you are selling cheap clothes, then you should definitely take responsibility for that, because you have the option to say no.
Actually, what you're doing now is pretty interesting, because if we look at it, it's bad things both, right? But still, the climate questions have not gotten that high up in our ranking, actually, as, for example, child pornography. I'm not trying to measure them, but I'm just saying it's interesting that climate still can go, because there is still a lot of greenwashing out there.
Of course. And I guess the thing is that, I mean, an influencer isn't like a company or some government or anything, but the companies are using women mostly, because the business is basically a women organization, to be a part of like a bigger like blockchain system, which is also a problem. I mean, it shouldn't be like the influencer's fault, but we are definitely taking the blame from the audience if we are doing something wrong.
Yeah.
And of course, shame isn't good, but it can also be effective, right? It can be effective that people change their way of presenting, but it shouldn't be the influencers who takes the blame for what someone else is doing.
No.
That needs to be regulated on a much higher level.
No, for sure. But I think it's still it's quite interesting, because when you look at the business model is quite simple, right? You have a large amount of followers, you promote something, you get paid for that, and that's standard business. The question comes into, if I'm promoting this brand which is unsustainable, do I need to take that responsibility? Should I take that responsibility, or is that up to the company? And I think it's
a moral
both, right?
question.
Yeah,
That's a moral
it's a moral question. But I think also we're here when what you have done, because the business model should still work with sustainable brands, with sustainable other platforms. So, how do you convert it? How do you also show for other influencers that you can still, make a very good living, use that platform to do good instead?
But the thing is, why I dare to do it, because I have other income legs to stand up on. But if I wouldn't, why? It should be dependent on what I bring home to the table. It's my bacon money, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I had so many DMs from influencers when I started this quest of mine, telling me that they already stopped shopping, but they can't be public with it because it's their living.
Yeah.
And I mean, they are already tied up like someone in a spider yarn or spider web in this, because the industry is already regulating them.
Yeah.
And if they don't choose to jump off the wagon, it's not going to change the industry, right?
No.
So they're already like owned by the companies in one way or another.
Yeah.
So when should an influencer say no to money?
Humanitarian effects is like beyond worse, like they are with Shein, for example. If the climate effects are horrible, I think you have a responsibility. But probably you wouldn't know that if you don't do your own research. And people are so lazy today. They just want to get the money and get out. So I don't know, to be honest. I think you have some own responsibility because you would never sell child pornography, but you have no problem exploiting like poor women in other countries. What's the difference?
Where do you personally draw the line? Do you have an example where you've said no?
Well, I have so many examples where I say no all the time. But for this year, it was not even doable to say yes to anything. I've been questioned even from refurbished brands and also like people claiming that they are sustainable. And I said, can you prove it? And they say, let's get back to that. And then they never then they ghost me. So I guess no one can really prove it. And then I can't do it.
Wow, that's... I have to push that one again. But also at the same time, amazing. I'm so impressed. And I think that maybe this is the side that not everybody sees in your line of work, all the things that you actually say no to at the same time as you're struggling to do something good.
Yeah, but the thing is also, in one way, I feel like, shit, people should get paid because, you know, us as an influencer, as a group, we get so much shit taken on every day from everyone. Telling us how much wrong we are doing, how we are living our life wrong, etc. I can totally understand that people don't cope with that and totally want to get paid because this is not worth it otherwise.
No.
I can definitely understand that.
And I guess maybe I'm like, you know, the first bird catch the maggot, the second bird catch the mice. Maybe I'm just like the first one out. Maybe someone else is going to earn a lot more on this within 2 or 3 years. But I'm happy to get the maggot in that case.
What do you hope for the future? What do you hope that this
Well,
leads
to start with, I hope that this planet survives, and I think that's like my everyday panic, that my kids, that the best days has already been there and we didn't even appreciate it, and that my kids are supposed to grow up in a okay way, not only in climate crisis with different like climate effects and also like pandemics that's going to be constantly going on. I mean, that's not a like purposeful way of living.
Let's make sure that we kind of continue on that track, because we actually have questions from the future. Kids have been posing questions from in different aspects, and you are going to get a question from Freya, who is 9 years old at the time. Let's see what Freya has as a question.
Questions from our future.
What do you want me to do different than your generation?
Wow, I also have a 9-year-old at home. Well, the problem is with my generation, we weren't aware of anything, that what we were doing was wrong, because no one actually told us. And I hope no one's going to tell your generation that you are doing wrong, because it's basically me as a parent who's doing wrong. So I hope your generation going to have much more responsible parents than my generation did, because they were doing stuff without any knowledge of it. So hopefully information gets through to your generation, so you don't need to do bad choices. And hopefully the laws will also prevent you from doing bad choices.
I think that Freya can definitely live with that answer, but I also kind of think of another question. Do we actually educate our kids enough? If we look just at this fast fashion and all of this, do you think that they get the truth?
Yeah, I hope at least they can, because for instance, like emerging markets this year has been 21% up for reused and refurbished, which is great. And I also encourage, I mean, me as a parent, I have the choice here to make a difference, because I understand that my child, she's like my daughter, she's one of those kids that do a lot of consuming stuff. And I was the same. I loved to shop when I was a kid. I thought this was, even if I didn't need to, even if I found something with 9 crowns, I would shop it, basically. And she's the same. And I said, okay, I realized I cannot teach her to not shop. It's not going to be doable. But if she shops better, I can encourage that. So I said, I'm not going to give you any more than your monthly payment or monthly salary for doing any new consumption. But if you are doing it on the reused platforms, I would support it. And now it's happening.
That's a very smart way of encouraging, actually.
I agree.
Because she would never like drop the shop.
No.
We're moving to the end, Anita, and we usually have this segment called Giving Sunshine to Someone Else. We bring you here because we want to shed a sunlight of what you have done, because you have really been brave through this. You've had the resilience to stay through it, and it's going to be very interesting to continue to follow you. So I hope that you who are sitting out there start to follow Anita, so that you can also be on a journey, because there is not only what we talked about here today, but it's also a lot about how you can change behaviors when it comes to climate that you are actually talking about now in your social platforms. So make sure that you follow Anita. She gets my sunshine, but who gets your sunshine?
My sunshine is Sara Wimmerkrantz is getting my sunshine. I think she's doing huge.
Tell us who she is.
She's like a super entrepreneur in Sweden. She's actually started this Foot Locker company, but like totally understood what's happening in the unsustainable fashion industry. Totally like make a 360 flip and didn't like buy any new clothes. She's telling everyone in a very awareness and also very like relatable way how to consume and what you have to consider about yourself. And I think she's a great impactor, and I hope that the business will go from influencer to impactor. That would be great. At least 50-50 percentage sort of business would be wonderful.
Let's hope for that. Final note from today. after listening in and having this conversation, what do you both bring with you? Like one thing that you will do now more or less or differently from now on after this conversation, or something that you want to tell the listeners out there as a final say? Why don't we start with you, Anita?
As a final say, I guess, even if you just like change a small thing, like one thing a week or one thing a month, you don't have to see yourself as a failure. Try to consider yourself or celebrate those moments instead. And like, hey, I did something good, because on a planetary basis, it's going to be effectful. Even if you can't see it for yourself, it's going to have an effect.
Yeah.
So start with something that you can really like do, so you don't need to fail, you know? And then you do it slow. Don't like try to win all the wars at the same time. And also for everyone that's following, don't stop accusing people for what they're not doing. Encourage them for what they are doing. I think that's super important.
Thank
That's
you.
a very good point. I've learned so much about influencing this section. I'm so grateful. I didn't know a lot about it. No, but I'm going to stop shopping for 3 months and see what that is like. I've never done that before. I think it's a great initiative, and you've done it as well. So it's time for me to do it as well. So I'll stop shopping for.
We'll follow up on that one.
Yes, for sure.
Awesome.
Great.
There you go. We got one more to stop shopping, and maybe you are the next one. I surely hope so. Thank you for listening into The Switch, and remember, the best way you can help the planet right now is actually to share this material or other good material where you can get educated and entertained by good things that will actually make the switch happen. Until we meet the next time, take care of yourself and make sure you take care of at least one more person. See you. Take care.